Hi, you're listening to Childless and Moving Onward. This is the place where we talk about thriving in life when you're a woman who is childless, not by choice, regardless of the road that brought you to childlessness. Hi, and welcome to episode 18 of Childless and Moving Onward. I'm Gail Miller, your host. I'm a physician, speaker, and I'm a life coach, and I empower women who are childless not by choice to feel whole and to live fulfilling lives. So today, my topic that I want to talk about is that feeling of invisibility. So the feeling of being an outsider or feeling isolated, those are common descriptions as childless women. It's that sense of you're on the outside looking in. Conversations are about family, which is usually defined only by having children. And people talk about family being more than blood. I mean, you see posts about it, memes about it, and people will say that all the time. Family is more than just blood. But then, in actual real life, people don't truly see family as anything but a couple with children. And sometimes it's a couple that people will only recognize if it's male and female couple. But generally, people don't consider anything to be family other than a couple with children, despite all of the comments and encouragement that family is more than blood. So, in reality, you're a childless couple. By society's standards, you're not a family. If you're a couple and not married, you're just not family, and you're looked down on. You're a single person. By society's standards, you are not family no matter who is in your circle. If you're a single person and you consider your pet family, nope, not by society, even by the very same people who have children and consider their own pets as family. But by societal standards, if you're human childless, your pet doesn't make a family. It's very isolating, leaving feelings of this otherness, of being an outsider, because everything revolves around family, revolves around kids. Even at adult functions, when it's, functions that are adults only, conversations are almost always about kids. But what isn't as commonly talked about as the outsider feeling is that childless people often feel invisible, are treated like we're invisible. Being childless often comes with being overlooked, ignored, unseen. And it shows up in a variety of ways, and it affects different aspects of life. So what I want to talk about now are just a few of the ways, some of the ways that it manifests, leaving you feeling invisible. The first is the lack of recognition for any personal achievements or contributions to the community, be it family, work, or the larger community. And it happens all too frequently. The assumption is that as a childless person, you have nothing but free time. So, of course, you have plenty of time to accomplish things. So when you've had some type of achievement, it's overlooked, as if it doesn't matter, that it's insignificant. The second is a social exclusion. you know, the conversations where you're overlooked, you're talked over, like you're not even there. And if you dare to bring up a topic that's not about kids, again, you'll get either talked over, or you'll get a, insincere like nod, or, a little bit of agreement with what you're talking about. And then the topic, they change back and they move on back to talking about kids. But it's not just about kid-focused conversations, even when the conversation turns to something else. By then, you've been ignored to the point that you seem to no longer exist. The third is that we're often excluded when it comes to invitations. Now, to be fully honest, we often do get invitations to things we may not want to go to, or that we want to go to, but still feel the dread for the parts that trigger the pain of childlessness. But despite some invitations being painful, sometimes being childless means being completely excluded from events, not even getting the chance to decide for yourself if it's something you want to go to. Instead, others decide for you. Now, admittedly, it can be well-meaning. I mean, someone may think you just don't want to be there because of the triggers. But, I mean, really, it sucks not being given the choice to decide for yourself. It's as if you are being treated as a child yourself. We have to decide for you what's best. Now, sometimes it's also not really thinking about that they're helping you. In reality, oftentimes, it's about their own discomfort. Our childlessness makes others uncomfortable. And it's just easier for others, their feelings, to simply not invite you, so they don't have to see you and be reminded of their discomfort about you being childless. Because childless people too often aren't valued as part of the group. And the fourth way this can show up is emotional neglect and marginalization, because we're part of an underrepresented group in society. While we aren't alone, I mean, there's a large percentage of people who are childless, and of those, about half are childless not by choice. But the reality is, majority of people have children. And typically, we are surrounded primarily by people with children. Now, add to that the pain of being childless is frequently dismissed, or it's not taken seriously, and it can make you feel invisible. And it's just an awful feeling. The fifth way this can show up, and this is, these, I'm just talking about a few ways that either I've experienced, or many of these are things that women tell me about. Their stories that they're dealing with. But the fifth way is, you can actually be in a room full of people and you can actually be actively doing things for them. And yet you feel invisible. People don't make eye contact. They don't acknowledge your presence or respond to you. I mean, has anybody else had this experience? Because I who's listening, because I know others have. You tell me these things. I hear the stories. So I would love to hear more. I want to know what others are experiencing, what others are going through. But all of this can happen with family, friends, professionally. You feel unseen. So someone recently described an interaction that is very common. I'm going to call her Clara. It's not her name, but she was at a get together with friends at someone's house, and she was there early, helped set up, helped whenever food was running low. She would, go to the kitchen and help put more in the serving dishes, and actually also made a run to the store at one point because they ran out of something. But she was completely ignored, other than, oh yeah, go to the store, or yeah, we need more of this, running low on chips or whatever it was. The one run that she made to the store, when she returned with the food that was needed, she described it as it was taken from her, as she felt like it had just magically appeared in thin air, as if she wasn't actually physically there giving it to them. Like they just grabbed it and didn't acknowledge her presence. Again, as she said, it felt like it was just magically appearing to them in thin air. And then when she tried to, walked back in and tried to join conversations, she just wasn't heard. She said these were all adult friends. Their kids weren't there. This was an adult-only event. But of course, the conversations were mostly about their kids. And even when they weren't, whatever Clara said went unheard, unacknowledged. Now, it may not be the exact same scenario, but I've heard too many similar stories. So many of you say that being childless often feels like you are invisible. Here's the thing, though. You don't have to normalize this, and you definitely don't need to internalize it. Moving past the feeling of invisibility when you are childless, not by choice, is a journey. It's not an easy one. It's a journey, but it requires self-compassion, self-support, support from others if you can get it. It requires a sense of purpose, that you have purpose, and self-advocacy. Moving past the feeling of invisibility when you are childless, not by choice, it requires like a multifaceted approach. It's not a do one thing and then you're good. It really requires a combination of things. So self-compassion, supportive networks, finding purpose in other areas that then remind you of your sense of self-worth and builds up self-esteem and confidence, and allows you then to advocate for yourself and for others who are in similar situations, who are also being treated as if they're invisible. And some of them may be others who are childless, and maybe other situations that cause people to be treated like that. But then you, in addition to advocating for yourself, can help others. So here's just a few strategies to help you with navigating that journey. And I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do, to come out of this. First of all, the pain of the childlessness and the feeling of invisibility and the wondering of, am I worth it? Yes, you are. Am I worthy? Yes, you are. To overcome that mindset and all the negative messages we get about being childless. It's interesting because interesting is sort of not quite the right word, but especially lately, there's so much on social media about childless women, so much negativity, and yet we're invisible. We're often invisible within our own communities. But there's a really, we apparently, based on social media postings and comments lately, we cause a whole lot of problems, but yet people don't also in our presence don't acknowledge us. It's a strange dynamic, and that doesn't make any sense. But again, let's get back to here's some strategies to help you in navigating this. The first is acknowledging your emotions is a must in self-compassion and acceptance. Acknowledging the pain, grief, the frustration, the anger, and all the whatever other emotions you feel that come with being childless, not by choice. They're all valid. But it's essential to recognize and validate your emotions and not suppress them. The second part of this is to treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Engage in self-compassion exercises like writing self-affirming letters or practicing loving kindness meditation. It may sound trite to do the self-affirming letters or comments or daily affirmations, but it's been found to be so effective. And you will see if you are consistent with this, it makes a huge difference, a world of difference in how you begin to see yourself and your worth. Another strategy in navigating this and in getting out of this place of invisibility is to work on acceptance. That means recognizing where you are right now and finding peace in your current circumstances. It does not mean that you have to be happy that you're childless or that you're saying this is what you want. It is simply recognizing this is it and learning to live with it. Because acceptance can help you in focusing on the present and the future possibilities and not just on the past and the if onlys and the woulda, coulda, shouldas. Oh, if only I had done this. The third strategy in navigating this kind of invisibility and navigating yourself out of it is to join support groups or online communities where you can connect with others who share similar experiences. These groups provide a safe space to share your feelings, get empathy and understanding and support and tips from other women who are like you. Now, granted, everybody comes to this from a different place, a different path, but all of us who are childless, not by choice, get the pain and get that it's valid. So find a support group, and there are many out there. I do have one, a free support group, Circle of Support. It meets the third Tuesday of every month. And so that is an option, and you will find the link to join in the show notes, but there are other options as well. So don't think that you are totally alone and there's nowhere to turn, because there are plenty of options, places to get support. The fourth strategy in navigating this invisibility is to nurture positive relationships. Now, admittedly, many of our family, our friends, colleagues, they just don't get it. Many just won't. They will not be open to listening to you and your experiences. But some, even though they don't get it, some people are open to learning. So some are people who you can talk to and explain things to so that you can tell them what you need in the way of support. Now, yeah, ideally, in an ideal world, people would know what you need or not need to be taught, if you will. But if someone is open to the idea and wants to support you, but they just don't know how, don't look past that because I have to teach them. If you put that bit of effort in and you are now open, you have this supportive, positive relationship. So find the people around you who can be supportive and understanding, even if they aren't now because they just don't know. Find them and tell them what you need. So foster relationships with the people who respect your feelings and validate your experiences. The fifth way to navigate this is to engage in activities and hobbies that bring you joy and fulfillment, whatever it is: art, music, sports, travel, volunteering. Finding passion in other areas can not just provide you a sense of purpose, but that's another place to build supportive relationships, because generally, if you're engaged in these activities and someone else is passionate about them, that's what you are focusing on and talking about, so that conversations don't have to be all about and only about their kids. A sixth strategy is volunteer. That provides a sense of purpose. It's incredibly fulfilling. And then you feel needed and you are included. The seventh strategy. Now this may take a little bit of time to feel confident in this and to for this to be right for you. But think about, are you ready to advocate for yourself and for others? Being public isn't for everyone, but it doesn't have to be public. It can start with one-on-one. People will do what you allow. So if you allow people to, let's say, talk down to you or be dismissive, they'll continue to. Now, that doesn't mean not everyone, especially in the moment, feels comfortable speaking up and saying that's not okay. And sometimes even afterwards, no, you just may not feel comfortable confronting someone. But sometimes not allowing somebody to do something to you that they shouldn't means stepping away from them, means just not giving them the option in the future, not making yourself available to them to do that to you. But if you are someone who feels comfortable speaking up, then stand up for yourself in your personal groups, whether it's colleagues, families, friends. We need to change the things that we shouldn't accept. Speak up and let people know you matter. So that's, if you're not ready for, being public about this, and you may never be, and nobody's saying you have to be, but one-on-one, make it clear to people that you matter. And then for those who are ready to be public, this can be the opportunity for you to make a difference in that way by sharing your experiences. It can be incredibly empowering, and then helps others understand your journey. So maybe it's you write an article, you create a blog, you create artwork about your experiences. It is in your power to provide comfort to others who are in similar situations. It's in your power to raise awareness. That will open up the opportunity to challenge society's expectations and norms. And it doesn't have to be public. One-on-one, start with the people who are treating you not in a positive way because of your childlessness. Teach them, get them to open up and change their expectations and their assumptions and their stereotypes about childless women. So my takeaways for today, the first is, don't internalize what others see or what they don't see. The second, find the people who will support you and give you understanding and nurture those positive relationships. Even if they aren't supporting you now, if you know they can, but you just need to tell them what it is you need. Find those people and nurture that communication and that relationship. And the third is that people will continue to do what you allow. So speak up. Don't allow people to treat you as if you are invisible. You matter. All right, that is all that I have for today's episode. So I look forward to speaking with you next week. Take care. Thanks for listening. If you liked this episode and you know someone who could benefit from this podcast, please share it with them and post about it on social media. There are many other women who are looking for this help and would love to know about it. To catch all the latest from me, you can follow me on Instagram at Childless Path Onward or on Facebook and YouTube at Path Onward. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.